Hello and welcome back to 7 Days to Die. Today we are going to be finally building that endgame base. And it needs to be done in time for day 40 because we are now playing on Horde nights every 5 days. There's a wandering horde over there. I'm just gonna place these guys here. They can cover me while I do this. So the horde base we're going to be using here has a lot of blocks and stuff. I haven't counted it, but as you can see, I have a ridiculous amount of materials anyway that we have gathered throughout the series, and I can pretty much do more or less what I want. Just realised didn't bring any ammo for the turrets I've got, so we will have to make a trip back. 1 second, I don't think I've actually set the the horde night to happen every 5 days, so let me go do that really quick. There we go, and we're back. Oh, does that despawn wandering hordes? Well, there's a neat little trick I didn't actually know about. So the idea of this base is very simple. It's going to take all of the things Intellect is good at, mostly traps, and use them in a base design that should be simple enough, but will still hopefully maximize the use of turrets and traps and stuff. The top priority is definitely going to be using turrets, not these turrets, but like SMG and shotgun turrets. So to give you a rough idea of what this base is going to be, we're going to have a ramp. I know, it's always a ramp with me, right? A ramp and a bridge that goes in a big loop. I can't call it a circle because it's 7 Days to Die. It'll be a square, and it'll go around a central building and lead into a fighting position, and the back side of that fighting position is just going to be covered in things that will hurt zombies quite a bit. Now, something you should know about this kind of base design if you want to try it at home is you're only going to get 75% XP from electrical trap kills, which is going to be doing most of the killing on this horde base, so you will actually get less XP from this. However, it is very easy compared to a normal horde, so there is that to think about. All XP does is make the horde nights harder, and if I want the horde nights to be harder, I'll just go to a harder biome. So XP from Horde Nights really isn't that big of a deal at this stage in the game, but something you should definitely know is that if you have no ranks of advanced engineering, you will get no XP from trap kills, and that would be a big bummer for most playstyles, I would say. So this is an Intellect horde base. I wouldn't recommend using it on any other build because you will just get no XP, and you'll have a harder time making all this stuff for this anyway because Intellect specializes in making these things much cheaper. And if you're not bothered about XP and you just want to survive the horde, then knock yourself out and do this if you want. So it does take up quite a large area because it needs to wrap around. So I'm going to chop down some trees really quickly. What's my game stage, by the way? 129? I doubt I'll be game stage 150 by the time the horde comes, so I shouldn't have to worry about demolition zombies this time around. But definitely the next one, the day 45 horde. So what we want to start out by doing is making a little bit of a ramp. So I'm going to do this the same way I do it every time, and I'll show you guys what I've done in a minute. Oh, you know what I didn't bring? Learning elixirs. That's not good, is it? Oh, I immediately misplaced a block as well. This is getting off to a great start. So, do a simple 3x3 here to start off your ramp. I am going to drive home though. I have like 17 learning elixirs, and while I did say XP doesn't matter to me, it will annoy the shit out of the comments section if I have like 17 learning elixirs and use none of them while upgrading a base. So, give me a moment, and we're back. So this is going to be a pretty standard ramp that I usually do. Let's see. Oh, I did it again. This one needs to be reinforced. Going under here. Oh, concrete's on the truck. I could probably make it steel as well. Right, and since I'm going to be doing a little bit of reinforcing, I'll use one learning elixir. Can't hurt too much. Let's do that. Steel, because they're going to be hard to reach some of these again. I'll just do it all steel. It doesn't need to be steel until there's demos though. That's a good rule of thumb, at least in the vanilla game. You really don't need steel until things are actually exploding. This one's going to become inaccessible as well. So is... No, that one isn't going to become inaccessible. We don't have to worry about that. Ramp outside corner full. Pretty standard ramp system that I usually use. It's a very dependable system. Let me grab these again, split them. Have some of them rotate to the right way. Like that, and then on here. And we want this to be 3 more ramps tall. Like that. So you've got this part, and then 1, 2, 3. Here we're going to make a pillar directly in line with this. We should be done with ramps for the rest of this, so we can just start doing that. There we go. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above the ground for those of you trying to follow along at home, but there is one recessed into the terrain as well. Next we want to come out 7, and then on the 8th block here we want to line ourselves up and build another pillar. Same height as the other one, this is just a support pillar. Then we want to go another 7. Would you believe we come here, we do another pillar. This ramp is going to wrap around your entire core base here. So that's why we're going quite large with it. Next, and this is quite predictable, but I like that, it makes it easy to remember. It's the other side of predictability. Easy to remember. So we go out another 7 here? Yeah, another 7. Dig out a pillar. Would you believe, go another 7 blocks. Probably take out any trees that might be getting in the way of your walkway there. We've got 7 out there, let's dig ourselves another pillar. There we go. This next bit is slightly more complicated, but it does start out exactly the same way with 7 blocks. Then a pillar, and then we go another 7. Then we want to go probably just another 7, and then build a pillar. You'll never guess what comes next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, build a pillar. Okay, so first of all, that took about 150 blocks to do that part. And you can see sort of the general idea we're going for here. The zombies are going to run up here, and they're going to have to run along this whole thing. And it does take them a while, even on nightmare speed. And then they'll come to here, and they'll have like a line leading directly into your fighting position. But before we go and build that last bridge, I do want to make sure that the central tower is going to be in the right position. So I'm just going to build 4 blocks out from the middle ones of all of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These should be temporary blocks if you're doing the same check as me. There we go. So that'll be sort of the boundary of your base here. Then we want to come in and dig out the start of a foundation so that it matches all 3 of these pieces, and then is mirrored on the other side, which I'll tell you the specifications of in one moment. Yep, it looks like it is a 7x7 box, so if you're having any trouble remembering this space, just remember the number 7, and most of it will come back to you. So what we want to do is dig out a full 7x7 block, because this is going to be the foundation of the base, and I'm going to turn it all to steel immediately, just to make sure it's nice and resilient. There, a 7x7 box is going to be the basis of the area we stand in, basically. It is 12 blocks between the two. Okay. So, I don't think we're allowed to do 7s here. I don't see any way to break this down into a 7, but 3, 4, 3 would probably work. So if we do 1, 2, 3, give myself a support pillar, and then 1, 2, 3. Does that match up? It does. Perfect. Let's take out these temporary blocks. So, what you have to do now is make a decision yourself as the player. How much resources do you have and how much are you willing to put into this? Because basically, you're going to require a big, thick foundation here, because this base design relies on the zombies deciding that this is not worth attacking and going up and around all the stuff. Now, if you're very short on materials, you can probably just go for a wall around each of these, and then a pillar in the middle. I am going to do a wall around all of this and a 3x3 pillar in the middle, which will leave room for like one thing in the middle, which I'm sure will cause zombies to get in there eventually, but I'm fine with that. It will save me a decent amount of materials, and it's not all that much weaker than just having a full filled in cube, because that just sounds really annoying to place. So what I'm going to do is get this, drink a learning elixir. I'm going to turn this whole floor into steel first. Right. Then I'm going to start with a pillar in the middle that comes up to the... Well, apparently I'm going to place that as well. And I'm going to come up to the height of this bridge here, because we know that's where the floor is just going to be. And then I'm going to turn this to steel, because it's going to be lost forever once I reinforce it. There we go. And then I'm just going to wrap it around with another layer of protective pillaring. If you're poor, I mean if you're cheap, I mean if you're more resource conscious, you can definitely get away with not wrapping around this, but this is meant to be like an end game horde base. You should have a few spare materials, you know, unless you're trying to build this on day 7 in the wasteland or something, but this is not that base design. This base design relies on high-tech stuff, so it kind of regulates itself in that sense. I'm going to turn this to steel as well. There we go, a nice pillar of steel. We can take out these temporary blocks, they definitely don't need to be here. And then I'm going to build a wall around this. Now you could definitely fill that in if you want to, but it kind of just slightly offends my sensibilities to think about this just being a full-on slab of steel. So I am just going to do the 3x3 surrounded by an outer wall. There we go, and I will also fill in the floor here. Feel free to make that like railings or something if you're conscious of zombies somehow getting inside and trying to attack the center part. It's not really that big of a concern to me though, but if you are, you can turn those to railings and you'll be able to shoot to the inside of your own base. Not a terrible idea. There's a skill point, and that's probably going to go into pistols for rank 4, which is more than good enough for my Desert Vulture. We will go back into just powering Fortitude after this. There we go. This whole thing is now basically an almost solid cube of steel, which is going to be very, very beneficial to making zombies not attack it. That took about 300 blocks worth of materials, by the way I did it, so bear that in mind. The next thing we're going to do is just build a little wall. And then I'm going to make the little fighting position. I'm going to use the old one that I like. The railing plus plate. And then on this side, we do poles. And then another pole there. And then I'm going to put a hatch here because this is obviously going to be your way in as well. Obviously, running around that all every time you want to get into this base could be annoying. So if you want to use parkour and some very intricate ladders to get into your base, you can. But for the rest of you plebeians who don't have agility, you are just going to have to do the same run the zombies do. On the plus side, anything that chases you will also have to do the big loop, so it's not like you're going to get overrun or anything. And then what I want to do... You know what, I should probably just turn this all to concrete. You don't really need it to be steel. Steel is more for structural support and for discouraging zombies from attacking things, rather than needing to turn your whole base into steel. It's good XP if you do, but you really don't need to. Now, I have a question about scaffolding ladders. Do they have... No. I was going to say, do they have a corner piece? Since they don't have a corner piece, we're just going to use a solid corner piece like this, which will block your vision slightly, but it will protect you from cop spit, compared to using railings here. Because we want this to all be open, but what we're going to use is scaffolding ladders. It's really up to you which way you want to do this. There are advantages and disadvantages to having them go certain ways either way. If you do it this way, you will be able to shoot more vertically. If you do it this way, you'll be able to shoot more horizontally, and I think horizontally is more useful. Now, the reason we're using scaffolding ladders is for 2 reasons. Scaffolding ladders do not allow cop spit to pass through them, but they do allow bullets to pass through the non-beam parts. Obviously, if you just shoot the beam... Oh, there's my magnum. You will hit the beam. It's not like railings. Do I not have any cobblestone on me? Well, I've got some in my truck. But it doesn't allow cop spit to flow through. Why are these different from them? What? Right, I'm gonna have to replace that. That's gonna annoy the shit out of me. And reinforce these to concrete, because cops might still try and spit at you, but the spit won't go through. But you are gonna want these to be strong in case the cops spit enough that it starts to break. And I really would recommend using scaffolding ladders for this, assuming they're not patched in whatever future version of the game that you're watching. Put that up another layer, and then... if you're fine with it being really claustrophobic, you can build a floor there, but I'm going to build up another level and have the floor in line with this part for the next floor, because it's going to be very claustrophobic if you don't. Reinforce my corners because they're annoying. Come in here and then place a ladder. I'm just going to keep using scaffolding ladders. They do actually work as ladders as well. And the idea here is going to be for your SMG turrets to have somewhere to live. But you're going to want to put in a floor around this so that you can store storage and generator banks. We're going to leave basically a pretty simple gap like that for your SMG turrets. That'll make more sense in a second. Let's turn this all into concrete first. Hang on. Next, you're going to want scaffold. Well, you're going to want the corners as usual. And then you're going to want your scaffolding ladders, again, with your preferred orientation. I'm just going to go for the same as downstairs. There we go, we got another layer. Same as before, we're just going to do another layer of blocks. This time we're going to put like a block over that. You don't need it to be 3 tall. And then concrete it. Continue your pillar all the way up to the top here. Now, here, because this is another floor that you won't really be standing on, if you're desperate to save materials, just have this floor be this tall and then put railings here. I'm going to make it another one tall though to match the other floor so that there's the same amount of space between the floor and the ceiling on both levels, because it'll annoy me otherwise. Oh, and by the way, you should probably do this on these levels as well, because they're going to hold your shotgun turrets on the backside. So, in line with the SMG ones. Now, is this the most optimal placement ever for turrets? Probably not, but I don't really care that much. It gets the job done, and it's fun, and it's not particularly expensive, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And another place you're going to want to do that is on the corners here. There, and there. That'll let you access the turrets through that gap there. You'll place a hatch here if this is how you want to get into the base. Otherwise, just plate it off. And speaking of plating it off, I'm going to do a little bit something like that now. If we go ahead and on-face these parts here, just to make sure they're extra not going to attack it, and they instead go after my fighting position, I'm going to plate this off and then steel it up. So they should not bother themselves with these blocks that I'm turning into steel here, which should ensure that they just focus on the ones that I want them to attack, which are going to be the weaker blocks. Build my ladder up. If you want roof access, give yourself roof access. If you don't, I don't care. Go, and then finish off this thing here. Once again, I will concretify it all, and I'll do the same to these. I won't bother with the ladders. And then here, I'm going to go for some railings, because there shouldn't be any cops above me, and the radiated vulture spit never seems to hit anything anyway. Might as well just make it so I can't miss any of the vultures. Now, can you put turrets on the roof and just have them deal with vultures? Yes. Is that something I'm going to do? No. I shoot the vultures. Me. I'm the anti-air gun. I don't automate my anti-air defenses. Why? Because I'm like that. Now, I really would recommend you do give yourself roof access, because how else are you going to get out of there if everything goes horribly wrong, right? You'll need a way out. Just in case. And I'd recommend you put a hatch on this. I don't have any hatch stuff on me, but I can make a wooden hatch just for demonstrations. Where's that wooden hatch? And then just place this on top of the ladder. There you go. And that should mean that from the low levels, if I can figure out how to use a trapdoor here, you should be able to look up and just kill any vultures that might be trying to attack the top of your base. If you want to put turrets up there, do it. I don't care. Also, I'll need another hatch here. I'll place this one so that I know it's going to be in the right position. There we go. I'll get an iron hatch and a steel hatch later. So this is your fighting position. You can just barely shoot onto the ramp, but you can also shoot into here, 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 and here. Now this is definitely not a sniper penetration base, because for most of the zombies' running time, they're going to be running horizontally from you rather than directly into your line of fire. But it's more about letting the turrets do damage than letting yourself do damage. You know what, I'm going to place those doors here as well. I'll need 4 of them. Let's see, you'll want it like that. I'll probably make these into forged iron later. So, that is pretty much the base, the idea of it. I would definitely recommend you put your traps on it though, because it's built for traps, so why wouldn't you use them? But first, I'm going to turn the rest of the bridge and the pillars into concrete, because cobblestone just isn't safe for this stage of the game. So where's my nail gun? I'm just going to reinforce all the stuff here that you see that's cobblestone. So overall on block placements, this did only take about 600, 700 blocks. Definitely on the cheaper end of bases you can make, but definitely more expensive than is necessary. For example, the insectoid stilt base I made in the last series was very, very cheap by comparison. But it's also so easy that it's kind of cheesy. And no, that wasn't supposed to rhyme. So let me take my engines and my generators inside here, wiring tool, and my SMGs and shotgun turrets. These are pretty much key to doing stuff with this base. So I like to put my shotgun turrets on the lower levels, Does it matter? I don't know. I'm not 100% on the most optimal way to get damage out of these, but I feel like shotguns are closer range, so having them lower to the bridge is the smarter choice there. And you can place these from inside, by the way. I'm just doing it because I have to run around here anyway. For these shotguns, I'm going to face them in a little bit because I want them to get things as they're coming on along that bridge. Very few things seem to actually reach this part anyway, and I plan on having some electric fences here actually, so it shouldn't matter either way. We then hop inside, so that is 1, 2, 3, 5 shotgun turrets, and then up here we've got 8 SMG turrets to use, but I'm going to go for just 4, 1 on each of the cardinal directions here. Don't want it to take too much power to run this place. Close these doors behind me. For your generators, I would recommend having them seated low rather than putting them up here. They're more likely to get hit by something if they're up there versus being here. And I'm just going to place them on opposing sides of the building there, fill them up with engines, refuel them. Not going to use them immediately. Another thing you can also consider if you're going to be using this in an early enough stage of the game for it to work is you can place a couple of blocks here. I'm just using writable storage because it's what I have on me. And you can place your robotic turrets just next to you in here, just fine. If you want to place little dips on the bridge and have robotic sledges, that's also perfectly fine. I might do that later on in the game when these become non-viable, because what happens is they start to activate demo buttons, and there are workarounds for it, like placing them behind the demos, but this base is not built for that, so later on in the game you are just going to lose the robotic turrets abilities during Horde Night, but you could always face them inwards like this on your roof and just have them deal with vultures for you. Assuming you have the perk maxed, which if you're placing 2 you will anyway, you should be able to have those active up there and they'll kill all the vultures for you, and they shouldn't have the position to fire on anything they shouldn't be able to. Also got electric fence posts, a few more blocks. I could set up dart traps, but I've not perfected that yet. I've got a couple of theories on how I want to use them, but in development, basically. But it's going to involve pressure plates, and it does work quite well. We'll probably want a switch for the electric fences, because otherwise you might get caught on them. Let's take these wooden ladders. So what I'm going to do, because I have parkour, is to save me having to do so much running, I'm just going to be doing that. And zombies won't use that ladder, because it's too high up and they shouldn't pile up here. So they're good, and since I have parkour, I can just do that and save myself a lot of time. So for relays, here's the thing about relays, you have to be very careful. Cops can and will fuck up your relays, so try and place them in places where the cops can't damage them. Most of inside here should be completely safe because it's cop proof. That was the point of it. Why are you like this? Why can I not pick it up? Right, well, you're supposed to be able to pick... Oh, you need to be in a land clean block. That's fine, I have millions of these. Right, so wire relay. I'm going to have one of them directed straight into the shotgun turrets. Well, into relays and then into the shotgun turrets. If you see here, by the way, you can come up into here and load the shotguns from inside the base. That's why those are there. That's all powered. There we go. So all my shotgun turrets should now be on. It takes about 80 watts power, nothing too crazy. They're not loaded though, so there's no real reason to have those on. Then we'll do the SMG turrets in a similar way. This one doesn't have the same kind of roof, so I'll just do some side-mounted ones. You can reach these from inside, by the way, even if you have them locked like that. Just do that. And you can also reload them from in here if you wanted to as well. There we go. So all my turrets are now wired up, with the SMG turrets wired to this one, and the shotguns to the other one. Another thing you could consider is blade traps. Now, with blade traps and electric fences, I would definitely recommend you incorporate switches, because turrets don't shoot at you by default. You have to tell them to shoot at you, but blade traps and electric fences don't care. They will just hurt you. Now, I have a lot of power output available to me, so I can really go to town on the blade traps. I'm conflicted on using them, because they're honestly very resource heavy. Why can I not place that? There we go. I'm going to go for 2 on each of these, though. And this is going to discourage zombies from going into rage mode and attacking the side of your base. You won't get through it anyway, it's made of steel, but blade traps are cool, right? So we'll do that. And I'll need an extra switch, because I'm going to do electric fences as well. We come in here, place one there for electric fences, one there for blade traps. Wire one there. Wire one there. Right, so for blade traps, how do I want to do this? Probably wire this, grab it, and just come straight down and look out, and do that. Yeah, at least for this initial one. We might need some relays as well, but it'll work a little bit. We grab that. There's 2 wired to it. What about if we use the doors I made? If we come out here, can I? Oh, you can reach it. That's very nice. And then do the other side. Oh, really long arm in that. Place that in there. Grab this again. Grab you. Get another one. Oh, I couldn't have made that more perfectly if I wanted to. It was mostly accidental. Right, so which ones? You're the blade trap one. Then, there we go. Are they all on? Those 2 are spinning away. Don't worry about the absolute nightmare of wires in here, by the way. When you put the wiring thing away, you can't see it anymore. Right, so all the blade traps are good to go. That takes 240 watts of power, so I will not be keeping it on permanently. That's why they're on a switch as well. That and because they'll damage you. For the electric fences, we need to build a little bit of a thing. And this can really be to your own specifications and desires. If you want to have, like, 5 layers of electric fence, you can. If you just want 2, you can do that as well. What I'm going to do is come out here, so it's in line with this pillar and the side of the base, and build myself 1 pillar. These ones won't be repairable from inside your base, though. That is one downside. But having electric fences, which are repairable from your base, but also defended, and keeping you safe while you do it, is typically very resource costly. Like that base I used in the Alpha 21 survival guide costs a lot of materials, because so much of the materials is dedicated to keeping your electric fences secure. This base does not have those weaknesses, it just does this. Cop pops will be a problem for them, so what you could certainly do is encase them in blocks. I don't care that much, I'm going to be honest with you. If they break, they break. The base is not dependent on electric fences at all. This is just going to give you a last bit of defense if they even get this far anyway. Wait, the fuck? That's not what I was trying to do at all. Hang on. You're supposed to be wired to this. What? Wire. Wire. There we go. Wire. Wire, and then come inside and grab the lever thingy switch. Just wire those all up on the same sides. Remember, the ones that are receiving the power current, which are these 2, are going to take damage when things happen. These ones are just going to be damaged by cop pops and explosions and stuff. You can definitely put a lot more effort into protecting those. I don't think it's necessary for a base that is not as dependent on electric fences as many other designs. So, what remains is just upgrading my doors and hatches here to, like, steel. And that is genuinely it. Pretty easy base design. I have way too many materials for it. But, you know, I don't mind. You know, there is one thing I could do, which is make these concrete, because they are basically made out of paper. There, so that is good to go for the Day 40 Horde, and it will just completely survive the Day 40 Horde. There is no doubt in my mind for that. The Day 45, where we might be getting demos, that is going to be more interesting. That's going to be a real test of the base, but that's going to have to wait for another episode, because I don't have 10 hours to play right now. So the last thing we need to do is get all the ammo that I want for my shotguns and SMGs and just bring it over and probably put it in some writable storage crates on the inside. I have these here as temporary blocks, but you could use them for storage. They're a bit insecure there. I wouldn't actually use them for storage. However, these would be much safer. We can just put like 9mm and spare turrets and spare electrical stuff in here. You can fit a few more of these in as well, in various places. Okay, let's see. Springs. What'd you call them? Mechanical parts. Is that what you need for steel hatches? I need 2 of you. I don't know if I really need vault doors. I mean, what's the harm, really? I can afford to do it. So. And then I also need iron hatches and iron doors, because you have to go through the upgrade path here. So iron. Well, these can be made in my inventory as well. Okay. Iron door, iron door, iron door, iron door. And then I'll make the iron hatches in my inventory. And I will simply wait. And shotgun shells. Yep, that's just way too many of those. Plenty of ammo crafting supplies as well. I've just not made any ammo except for robotic turret ammo in this playthrough. Mostly just because I've been finding plenty of it without it. So why would I? There we go, all the doors I need. Let's head back over. There we go. The important hatch is now steel. Do this hatch as well. Do the doors. So excessive, but I can afford it, so what does it matter? Here we go. I'll also need a bunch of this to actually put in the turrets, won't I? This thing is going to require a mountain of ammo to keep loaded. But it's not that hard to get mountains of ammo, so I don't mind. Especially if the stuff I just don't use in any of my weapons anyway. Have I loaded this one or do I need more ammo? Need more ammo. There we go. Now we have day 38, day 39, and day 40. Oh, this is going to take so long to test it. What do I want to do in the meantime? Okay, so here comes the day 40 Horde. The base is up and running. The turrets are good to go. Let's see how this thing holds. Alright, here goes nothing. I'm going to turn my game audio down because these turrets are going to be horrible to listen to. So far they seem to be, you know, doing the thing. Making their way around. I don't expect a feral light to go down to these turrets, but, you know. Everything else might. Ah, are they bashing? My robotic turrets might need to be put in a better position. They seem to be slightly shooting these blocks, but that's fine. The hell? It's an interesting strategy from them. You always have to be wary of the spiders pathing. They're a little bit weird. I think I maybe should have encased the electric fences because one of them has taken a lot of damage from the robotic turrets actually. As they're crossing there, they're shooting it and it's hitting it. It's minor, but it's an improvement that could be made. But otherwise, the shotgun turrets are absolutely handling this. I'm sure the SMG turrets are doing their part as well. Is this one loaded? No? It is. It seems like when they get there, they go back into destroy area mode and they try and destroy that block. Which is to be expected. We understand that mechanic from my previous videos, of course. I'm sure all of you have seen all of them. But basically, they get into range with you again and they go into destroy area mode. Nothing to be overly concerned with because I have windows on all the sides and I have turrets that should make their way to shooting those zombies before they can do too much damage. This thing here needs some repairs. Not repairs, sorry, a reload. Wonder if it's worth doing that. And while that does do that, let me get some spare ammo for it. Yeah, it's very difficult from a video standpoint to actually show you what's happening, because it's happening on 4 sides and I only have 1 camera, but it's going pretty well. Very few of them are actually getting past these electric fences. Honestly, very few of them are even reaching the electric fences, never mind getting past them. If I was to make an improvement, I would probably want to put these on half blocks or 3/4 blocks if that's a thing that exists. Let's see. This would do. See if that improves the turret's aim a little bit because they're hitting the wrong things. That does seem to slightly help. It would be better if it was in the place of that though. But it's an improvement for now. There we go. They're still hitting the bits in the middle. But it's not too bad overall. I think I'm going to improve it by putting some dart traps on the bridges here, through various means. Really, the only thing I can show you of this Horde Knight is the XP going up. How's the ammo doing? Okay, so this has used about half of its ammo. That's the... yeah, that one's using a lot more ammo than most of the turrets though. Yeah, this one's used almost all of it, yeah. SMG turrets tend to use more ammo than the shotgun ones, for mostly obvious reasons, but it's not too bad. Depending on how often you have your Horde Knights, keeping these stocked up with like 2 thingies of ammo shouldn't be that hard to do. It's 900 per turret, 900 per SMG turret, 450 per shotgun turret. So getting a few thousand of each of those every week is not that hard to do if you're at this late game stage. I mean, melt down some dukes, mine a little bit of coal and lead, you're good to go. It's suspiciously quiet. Did the SMG turrets run out of ammo? My money's on yes. Yeah. I could reload them, but I don't think I really need to. Shotguns are handling it very well still. Or are they? That is a lot of zombies, actually. You know what it is? It's my robotic turrets being down. That's what's causing that. Hang on a moment. Let's get these reloaded. Because they are a big bit of DPS at this stage. There, they should clean that up. No problem. Now for really late game hordes where demos are a problem, you could always replace these with a couple more SMG turrets if you feel it's necessary. But I should mention, turrets will not hit demo buttons. These turrets won't. These turrets will, these won't. The SMG and the shotgun turrets. And if you are new to the series and you don't know what's going on, this is Insane Nightmare 64 max spawns. That is an important detail, of course. This one's out of ammo as well. A few of the shotguns still have ammo left though. I can probably handle the rest of the Horde Night without them. Just have the robotic turrets help me out. Got plenty of M60 ammo after all. I'm gonna get some ammo just for turrets on this side so that they handle the zombies that are bunching up on the ramp there. Because if I don't, they might break the ramp and then the whole base breaks. It might be worth keeping those ones loaded, but the other ones I can survive without. Not that I'm short on ammo, it's just laziness. Okay, 2 more skill points. Let's go for another point of fortitude. We can get another rank of machine gunner soon. Get another skill point anyway, is that it? We done? 6,000 kills up to game stage 139. Day 45 is definitely gonna be demo time then. Unless we just get really lucky. Okay, let me turn off all the power stuff. What is the power consumption? 100 gas out of you. 50 gas out of you. So 150 gas per night, that is not bad at all. Let's pop outside and assess some of the damage here. So these take damage just from your turrets, I think. Mostly. In particular that one did. The one right in front of the turret, of course. The corners definitely seem to take a bit of damage. I'm just keeping that in mind so I know which ones need to be turned into steel. It seems to be basically the tops of pillars that need to be turned into steel. Which I could have honestly expected. How's the ramp doing? Not too bad, but they did get a few hits in it. Yeah, so I think I lost like half of my blade traps, which isn't too bad. I'm confident it's going to hold against demos as well. Just needs some steel in some very important places, I think. That is going to do it for today's episode. I hope this base was of interest to you, even if you maybe don't want to do it yourself for Intellect build reasons, because it really does only work for an Intellect build. We will do some upgrades to it soon, and we'll see if we can hold against demos. But in the meantime, thank you to my channel members and patrons for making this video possible, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.